our last show and tell for Cyberfest 2020. This is Group O, and I'm just going to go over the order of the event tonight. First, we're going to give a little introduction about SF Zine Fest. We're going to lay out some rules and expectations. We'll have everyone go into breakout rooms. While that's going on, I'll be talking a little bit and presenting a zine. We're going to have exhibitors presenting their work for about 40 minutes or more. If there's time, then we'll take any questions from people commenting on the live stream or questions that have come up in the chat, and then we'll close it up and let you know about the ways to support SF Zine Fest. So SF Zine Fest was founded in 2001 as a gathering place for writers and artists from around the world, but especially from the Bay Area. It's typically been held as a one-day event at the County Fair building in Golden Gate Park. Our 2019 festival had over 240 exhibitors and over 5,000 attendees, but due to COVID-19, our 2020 festival is 100% virtual. So my name is Neil Ballard. I'm hosting this show and tell session, and I'm one of the volunteer organizers of SF Zine Fest. So Cyberfest is 3 weeks of online programming. We've had 3 guests of honor, one for each week. We're now in week 3. So Tana Tucker has been our amazing guest of honor this week. Before that, we had the phenomenal Death P. Sun and Alex L. Combs, respectively, weeks 2 and 1. So we've done readings, workshops, demos, interviews, and rocked it all out on Zoom. So I'll read our safer spaces policy here to lay the expectations out for the event. We are committed to providing a harassment-free experience for everyone, regardless of gender identity or expression, sexual orientation, disability, physical appearance, body size, race, or religion. We will not tolerate harassment at SF Zine Fest events in any form. Individuals violating the Safer Spaces policy may be sanctioned or expelled from the space or the event at the discretion of any SF Zine Fest organizer. So respect people's opinions, beliefs, differing states of being, and differing points of view. Always get explicit verbal consent before taking someone's photo or crossing other personal boundaries. Be responsible for your actions and aware that they may have an effect on others regardless of your original intent. And a safe and respectful community is everyone's responsibility. Some Zoom guidelines. Everybody's got their videos off, so that's great. That helps keep our video quality good for the live stream. Please keep yourself on mute to prevent background noise unless you're presenting. You can use the chat to ask questions. The chat is moderated. You will have 4 minutes to share your work, and you can use the 4 minutes however you want. Use the chat to compliment other artists or say hi or comment on the work. When you're presenting, please be mindful for folks who are blind or visually impaired by being very specific and descriptive when sharing your work. And this Zoom session is being recorded and broadcast to Facebook and YouTube. So above all, please be respectful, as everyone will be. Now we're going to have everyone go into breakout rooms so you can introduce yourselves, say hi, and kind of talk about zines and yourselves. So the prompts for today's breakout room is super simple. What's something that's brought you joy lately? So please have fun talking about that and talking to each other, and we'll see you back when the main session returns. All right, looks like that was working out. So while everybody else is in the breakout room, first of all, I want to say, please support SF Zine Fest. We usually get our funding from, in large part, from the table fees that we can collect from the in-person event. But we're not able to do that. We're also not able to collect donations in person or sell merchandise at the event. So really the way that we're looking to support ourselves so that we can have a festival next year is by selling merchandise on our store. So to do that, we have, utilizing our 3 guests of honor, We have some incredible merchandise available. We have posters and stickers, and it's all super commemorative and one of a kind, and you should absolutely pick it up, and we totally appreciate that. It really keeps us going, and it makes sure that, like I said, that we're going to be able to have a fest next year. So with that, I have a little mini comic that I made last year that I would love to read to everyone. So it starts out, there's a man in a trench coat, and he's at a counter, and the person behind the counter isn't quite sure what he's looking for, but he says he's saying something to them, and he has it's like a robot head in the speech bubble. Then there's a scene of somebody getting some spiritual advice at a booth. There's another scene of somebody looking bewildered, and then a parent and her child walking around. Then there's another man with a trench coat running. He's pushed somebody into this pond rudely, but he's running towards something. We don't know what. Other people sitting there by the pond. And then there's more activity, more trench coat guys running toward a direction, and we don't know what they're pursuing. But it turns out on the last page, there's this little fella, the robot that the guy in the first page was looking for. He's getting into a taxi. So this was a fun zine to make, but what I really enjoyed doing about this is that the whole scene then is on the inside. So you unfold the mini comic, and you can see the whole gamut here, and put it all together from those pages on the opposite side. So you see that the guy in the trench coat from the first panel, he's talking to somebody at a hot dog stand. You can see the whole fountain, which has this kind of swan sculpture. You see the spiritual advice being given underneath that tent thing there. There's a couple of cars on the road, so I hope you all enjoyed that. And I hope that everyone coming back had a wonderful time in the breakout rooms. I can't see anybody's faces, but if you want to express your enthusiasm, you can certainly do so in the chat. Doesn't look like everybody. Oh, great! We got the thumbs up. They're popping up. That's always, I love to see it. Don't see everything coming. Don't see everybody coming back just yet. So it looks like we may have had just one or two breakout rooms, but just for the exhibitors, I was just sharing a mini comic that I'd made. It's multiple scenes that kind of tell a very simple little story about some trench coat wearing gentleman pursuing a robot, and then that opens up to show the whole scene there, from which the inside panels are taken. Okay, fantastic. We have more people back, and I'm just unsure if this is everybody or not. It is everybody? Great, awesome. Well, terrific. Well, let's get to the main event then, so we can see everyone's wonderful work. All right. So we'll just go over really quick what to say and do while presenting. Tell us your name and your pronouns. Tell us if you're based in the Bay Area, or if not, where you are based. Tell us a little bit about yourself, show your work, read something from your zines or comics, or do whatever you would like to do. We've had some very creative presentations from people, setting up a virtual table where they give us a little guided tour, or putting on a character. So I'm excited to see what everybody has in store for us tonight at the last show and tell of the first Cyberfest 2020. This is going to be the presenting order, so you should see yourself on there and be able to kind of see where you're situated. I'll linger on that for just a second and move on to our first presenter, who's going to be EHA Comics.
Everybody, my name's Eddie On, and my pronouns are he, him, and I'm based in San Francisco, California, talking to you from the outer Richmond district, actually. Typically, when I've done SF Zine Fest over now, it's been a while, like 5, 6 years, maybe even longer actually. But there have been some years where I haven't exhibited, but it's been at least 5 or 6 times since I've been to the festival. I typically do a range of comic books and small zines. So this was the very first one I used to do. It was the story of an angry talking turtle who tries to sell coffee in San Francisco out of a cart. It's basically a story of my grandfather in a lot of respects. The turtle is kind of an ambitious, frustrated character and tries to expand a mini coffee cart empire across the city. I evolved a lot since I'm self-taught as an artist. So my actual day-to-day job is I work as a lawyer for a nonprofit. It's called Brightline. We're based in South of Market. We do a lot of environmental justice work. So our work ranges from job training, such as solar panel installations and general construction work to try to get folks income mobility from the lower income bracket to a middle income bracket. For us, we also do a lot of work around air quality monitoring and youth environmental leadership. So that really takes up a lot of my day-to-day, but I try to draw comics when I can. And the next set of books are really like a story about a series of wishes changing a world. So it's a kind of, to say it's utopian and its outlook was probably not really the correct description, but it basically envisions a world in which, for instance, all these magical things happen, but it creates results that may not be exactly what people hope for. So things like, teleportation in the world happening, the guns in the world stopped working. So what does that mean for, violence in the world? Does it really go away? And it just explores it through kind of whimsical short stories. So this particular one is about a degenerate cowboy gambler. I was originally born in Austin, Texas, and I grew up in Dallas. So it's based on experiences of being in the local scene in Texas, and then how this degenerate cowboy gambler tries to make his way in the world. And his wish that comes true is that he basically has a series of nickels that falls out of the sky every time he hears a certain catchphrase. I wish I had a nickel every time I heard that. But my just to conclude, my more recent work is really around more personal stories. So this is from my time being a child and growing up in a liquor store in Dallas. So I've been doing much more autobiographical stories, and that's a lot of my current work. This has no dialogue, as you can see, it's just drawn, but yeah, dialogue work will happen later. And I'll conclude there. I think that more than encompasses 4 minutes.
Eddie, that was fantastic. Actually, you do have just about a minute left, so if you don't mind, I'd love to ask you a question about your work.
Sure.
So you said that the turtle story was based on your grandfather. So was he did he open up coffee carts in San Francisco?
No, I think it's more based on his general business ambition. So he was actually a very bright person from all accounts in our family history, someone who graduated from Seoul National University, it's like the equivalent of Harvard in South Korea. For him, he was a translator in the Korean War for American general, and that's where some of the history behind the turtle also acts as like a translator for a military soldier, and then that scarring experience, that trauma, very much forms his worldview. So wow. I think like similarly, there's some backstory that is shared with my grandfather, but the things that happen in San Francisco are just more kind of broad strokes, his personality and how he engages in life. So.
Wow, what a great tribute to your relative. Yeah. That's wonderful. And I also want to say, great color palette on the that last piece you showed.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Eddie. We're going to move on to our next exhibitor now. Let's just share my screen here. There we go. All right, so next exhibitor is going to be Eli Bishop.
Hi.
Hi.
I am Eli Bishop. I go by he and him. And I'm a cartoonist from the East Coast originally, and I've been in the Bay Area for about 18 years and going to Zine Fest almost as long as that. I self-publish most of my comics, and I'm going to put my slideshow here, and I will show you the covers of those. Okay, so here are some things, and it's a little hard to describe what they are. Most of them are pretty short. They're in different styles because I don't really have one that comes naturally. And a lot of them have kind of a surreal or a fantasy take on some kind of emotional problem or kind of humor and kind of not. Like, for instance, what if you were not sure what someone's name was and you didn't want to admit that? And then you ended up going through a whole relationship with them that way. This is the first page of that one. Or what if there's a reverse werewolf, which is a regular wolf who turns into a terrible human being? And that's why some people on the internet are no good. And that's part of this one with this ex-wolf dude telling people, go die in a fire, LOL. So I have those and a lot of other kinds of stories on my website, which is errorbar.net. And you can find out there about the ones that I have on paper. A few years ago, I started doing a larger size comic zine called Busybody. This is the cover. It has short pieces like those and also has the start of a longer story that's a more realistic thing, where it follows around a bunch of people at a hospital in these parallel stories. And that was based on a job that I had 20 years ago. I used to be a nurse. I had a lot of plans for that story. It goes all over the place. It's also about New York in the 90s. And I hope to continue with that and Busybody. But right after I put out the first issue, I had a detour. I got really sick with depression, and I had a bad spell for a long time where I just really couldn't write or draw. That wasn't new. I had had a lot of trouble with depression before, but I got extra impatient with it this time. And I thought maybe I can make it different by making something about it. So I was making notes until I was better enough to really work on it. And then I finally did this thing that I just put out now, which is a collection called 9 Faces of Nothing. It's a 60-page book. There's 9 comics in it. And some of them are literally talking about depression and personal stuff, and some of them are more abstract. This is just a collage where you can see that they're all in pretty different styles that are all these different takes on these bad states of mind. There's even a little bit of horror and science fiction in there, but it is mostly like a moody art comic. I'm going to show just the beginning of one of the stories. There's no words in this part, but the title is Baseline, which in this is like the average level of stuff that you just take for granted. And it starts with this person who one day walks on a bear trap that just happened to be there. And she gets her leg mangled up pretty bad, but she decides to just keep cool and try to put this out of her mind. And you see it getting erased out of the picture there. The leg in the trap is still there, but she's not really perceiving it and we can't see it. And then the rest of the story is just about going through life that way and how that affects your behavior. The rest of that story is on my website, and you can find out more there about things that you can get from me. This one is on paper, or you can get an ebook. I'm pretty happy with this book, even though it is a super bummer. And I hope other people who might have experienced some similar things might connect with it. So I'm just going to finish by ruining a joke by explaining it. The name of my website, Error Bar, in math, an error bar is like a part of a graph that shows how far wrong your answer might be. But it made me think always of a bar that serves mistakes. And so here on the left of my webpage, you can see a drink that looks really questionable, and it's kind of gross and smoking and leaking, but who knows, it might be good. And sometimes life is like that. I wish you all the best in this terrible time, and happy Zine Fest.
Eli, that was amazing. Thank you so much. I want to say that the drink that really struck me before you even pointed it out, because it does look a little Dr. Seuss inflected. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Well, I can only hope to remind you.
Awesome. Well, great. Thank you so much for sharing. We'll go to our next exhibitor now, and that's going to be Meew Studio.
Hello, I'm Megumi. So Meew Studio is 3 friends. It's me, Alina, and Kevin, and I'm going to show a little bit of each of our work real quick. The first thing is a zine that I just finished a couple days ago and hand bound it. It's about feminist fonts, which is basically non-male identifying type designers and researching and showcasing different typefaces that you can pick for your projects. This came about because I actually found it very difficult to support women type designers and pick fonts for my own projects. And I had to do a lot of research to find some typefaces that I liked because there just aren't that many. So essentially, this work is just about showcasing and shining a spotlight on some type designers. And yeah, I'm a huge font nerd and I always have been. So this is just really interesting for me to nerd out on, and I hope that you nerd out on it too. I can ship these, but it's also a free digital download. If you go to the link, you can download the PDF. And it's on 100% recycled paper. I care a lot about the environment, so all of the projects here are on recycled or eco-friendly materials. Next is vinyl alternative stickers. So these are some of mine. It's part of an abstract series I'm working on with gradient sculptures, just working with color and shaping them into different forms. And they're fully recyclable. They're not made from, oh yeah, they're vegan too. That's important. I forgot about that. But that's about it on the, I have a lot of these in this series, but I'm gonna move on to Alina's work, which is about food. And these are also eco-friendly little vinyl alternative stickers. We have a little foldy zine about things we've been doing in quarantine to make sure that we don't waste any resources during this time, like all the different ways that we've found to reuse tofu containers and even to learn how to make our own tofu out of dry soybeans. So this is a fun little thing we've been working on. And the last thing, this is Kevin's zine, which is photos taken on 35mm and 120mm film from across Korea and Vietnam, obviously before quarantine, but it's just a great travel collection. And Kevin is also a chef of, his Instagram is Tum Lum Tum La, Vietnamese street food, but also about trying to find Vietnamese American identity, since we all, I forgot to explain where I'm from at the beginning. We're all from the Bay Area, right now based in San Mateo. And yeah, I'll just show a couple more pages. This is the last thing I had to display, but there's a lot of photography in here. It's really great. This is also a digital download. That's all that I had to show.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Megumi. That was wonderful. I love the commitment to sustainable materials and just kind of how that also fits with the message of what you're getting at, the theme of consumerism and all that. So really, really nice stuff. Thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, going to our next exhibitor, who's going to be Natalie Windt.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Hi there. Yeah, go ahead, take it away.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. My name's Natalie. I currently live in Reading. I am a co-organizer of Chico Zine Fest. And this is Christy, who's the founder. And thank you to everyone at SF Zine Fest and all you amazing artists that I've gotten to speak with and watch present over the last few weeks. It's been incredible. So up first is images from a poetry zine called Sugar Skull, and it's about the loss of a loved one. All these images come from lines in the poem that I wrote. Some more. This one is my first zine I ever made. Collaged images. The poem itself, up in the far left corner, is about breast cancer and watching people that I know go through that, which is really hard. This one is called Brave. It's another pocket poem zine. It's on overcoming debilitating depression, and I was really thinking about this when Eli was just presenting. I really found a connection to your work, Eli. This one's from Various Kinds of Prints, which is a zine on reimagining prints in different forms. Here's some more from that. He's the Morton Salt Girl on the left there. And on the right, that's a line from one of his songs. This one is from a poetry chapbook called Some Things I've Kept Inside. Some more images. Here's a few from contributions to zines I've made. Most recently, the one on the left is from a coloring book zine for Chico Pride. Shout out to Stonewall. Here's some more. And then I've contributed to about 7 zines now with illustrations and writing. And the next slides are from some upcoming projects. One is called Bad Habits and the God Who Loves Them. And in progress is a holiday zine with the various ways we celebrate winter season. So this is Sister Slit, and named by Alex Hilsey. Here's some more images from that. This is from the holiday zine. And some more from the holiday zine. And yeah, I've been making zines since about July 2019. And you can find me at my Instagram or at Chico Zine Fest Instagram. And that's it.
Well, that's really good. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thanks.
Natalie. You do have some time left on the clock. So would you like to tell us what your favorite zine is? That you've
Of all
made?
time.
No, the ones that you've made.
Oh, okay. I have them right here in print too, so they are in print. My favorite would probably be, I don't know. Everyone loves the Prince one, but I really love Sugar Skull because it's about my brother-in-law. You can see the dedication on the back.
Nice.
Right there. He passed away, and so it's a poem that I wrote that just kind of came to me out of nowhere, and it's really meaningful because it helped me really get over that loss.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Nice. How about Chico Zine Fest? What's your experience like been co-organizing that?
Wonderful. It's been awesome doing that, and just the amount of people that I've gotten to meet through that and the workshops that we've done. I can't recommend workshops enough if you're a zinester doing those in your community. It's a great way to meet people.
Yeah, totally. Well, yeah, I imagine that now the Chico Zine Fest is on pause until just like we are. So hopefully, hopefully when we're able to, whether next year or whenever it is, we'll be looking out for you and seeing what great stuff comes out of Chico Zine Fest.
For sure. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much. So we'll go to our next exhibitor now, and that is going to be Tiny Deltas. Oh, looks like Tiny Deltas is not going to be attending tonight, so I will go ahead and give the overview here. So Tiny Deltas is the project of Lining Wang, they, them, who lives in the Bay Area. They have exhibited at Small Press Expo and LA Zine Fest. After falling in love with comics as a kid, they hope to tell weird, complicated, and devastating stories of their own. Outside of making art, you can catch them watching anime, napping, and adding to their collection of soft and/or shiny objects. I wonder if there are any objects that are both soft and shiny in that collection. And the links for their work are tinydeltas.com. Instagram, it's just Tiny Deltas, and then Lining Wang at with an A at Venmo. So everybody, we encourage you to check out Tiny Deltas. Next up, we've got Shani Ealey. Doesn't sound like Shani is here, so I will go ahead and present this one as well. So Shani Ealey is from Oakland, California, and Shani is a spirit-chasing, forest-wandering Black woman who spends a lot of time dreaming up new worlds through painting, the written word, and collage, making a way to heal and transform intergenerational patterns of harm, neglect, and trauma. Shani's work is greatly informed by the desire to learn and practice rituals that center the values of African earth-centered spirituality. And the work of the image here that we have for Shani's social media graphic is it features a lot of this very cool black ink style illustration of I presume that's the covers of the zines. So really striking look to those, and we definitely encourage you to check out Shani's work at shanirEaley.com on Instagram, Etsy, and then there's Venmo and PayPal as well. So we'll move to Stelli Munnis from Menlo Park.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everyone. So my pronouns are she and her, and you can find my zines at redsulphur.org, redsulphur.org. Lately, I've been doing a lot of work around my emotions, both anger and depression specifically. So I also resonated with some of that work that Eli and others were talking about. So this is my latest little quarter-page zine. It's my anger, a story about my anger, and it's got just different things that are going on with me, both personally and just with all the things that are going on that I'm just having a hard time dealing with in the world. And then I'm doing one on depression right now. This is the cover of the zine, and I've got poems inside and some artwork. I also, one of the things that's been helpful to me is drawing my emotions. So I've been for days just drawing these little cards that, just have different emotions on them represented. And I have 53 of them, and I shared them with friends, and they all said I should make a card deck out of it. So I did place an order, and the cards should be here on Monday. And on the front of every card, it says, "Today I feel," and then on the back are just different emotions. And I'm also going to be turning it into a zine with like little check boxes for every day of the year, so you can kind of go through and check off every day the different emotions that you're feeling to have some sort of a log that you can work with from year to year. So that's the real kind of one based on emotions. Prior to that, I did a lot of work just on identity. So like, who am I? Who is Stelli? And all the different parts that make up who I am. Things like trickster, tomboy, artist, photographer, healer, kind of a spiritual guide and a healer, teacher, but also things like the volcano and the ocean, and then also the jaguar. I resonate a lot with the spirit of the jaguar. I'm multicultural. I'm Nicaraguan, Greek, and kind of Northern European blend. So this one is more about my identity and my name being a unique name. People always asking me, where's your name from? Where are you from? That kind of thing. And so I talk a lot about my ethnicity, my cultural heritage, and then just reclaiming my roots, reconnecting with my Nicaraguan heritage, which when I was younger, I really kind of abandoned that part of myself. And then as I got older, I realized that I had to reintegrate those parts. So it just talks a little bit about that process. I also have a poetry zine called Crushing Dirty Mangoes, which in Nicaragua and a lot of developing countries, you see a lot of mangoes on the ground that are just like crushed and dirty. They're so plentiful that they're everywhere. So that's where the idea came for that title and poem. But these poems are very autobiographical, just about my life and experiences growing up in the States. And also in the middle, there's a spread with some photographs. And then I do a lot of DIY zines, things like, 3 steps to discover your heart's desire, how to discover your life's purpose, which to me is more about discovering who you are as opposed to what specifically like a job per se. It's more about your identity. 5 steps to know God, haunts, which haunts has to do with really getting in touch with the things that you may not want to talk about, or people in your family may not want to talk about, that they kind of haunt you and haunt your relationships. So it's really important to deal with those things. But all my work I present in a very, there's a seriousness to it, but there's also a very lighthearted, because I think that life's so serious that it's important to not be so hard on ourselves, and to kind of approach it with a sense of humor. And then I also make stickers. I'm intrigued by the vegan stickers that you mentioned earlier, because these are vinyl. So I'd like to learn more about how to print differently. But so some of my artwork I just turn into stickers. So that's what I got.
Nice.
Thank
Wow. It's a really good range of work. Yeah,
Thank you.
love all the different topics and forms that you're exploring. So thanks so much for sharing all that.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, guys.
All right, going to go to our next exhibitor, who is going to be Stoner Zines from Jackson Stoner. Okay, doesn't sound like Jackson Stoner is here, so I will present this one as well. So Jackson Stoner comes to us from Berkeley, California. Z here and he, him are Jackson's pronouns. So Jackson Stoner is a queer, trans, autistic, and Jewish artist and zinester who makes zines about her experience with gender exploration, educational zines about the autistic community, and a variety of nerdy TTRPG, cute and goth artwork. He is really excited to connect virtually with so many other zinesters. The work can be found at stonerzines.com. The image is it's a photocopied photograph zine, the title of which is Transvestia, and there's a lot of different paper colors there, so it has that very kind of classic old school zine look. There's also links on the screen here for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc., as well as the donation apps. So yeah, definitely check out Stoner Zines and support the art and the work there. So now we're going to move on to verbal.visual. So is Claudia here to present? Doesn't look like Claudia is here either. So I'll read this one out. So verbal.visual comes from Oakland, California, and Claudia's they artistic practice focuses on the intersectionality of movements for justice. Her practice includes printmaking, zines, and book arts, graphic design, poetry, and prose writing, as well as 2- and 3-dimensional protest art, drawing on her experience as a mixed-race, queer, Asian activist with a disability to inform the form, content, and ethos of her work. And there's an awesome quote by Octavia Butler that is looks like it's screen printed or there's a print of it. I'm not exactly sure the how, but it's definitely there's a cool illustration there in the middle of it. The quote is, "All that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you," from Octavia Butler. So you can find verbal.visual's work at instagram.com for verbal.visual and also on Venmo and PayPal. Great. So now we have Will Betke-Brunswick.
Hi, everyone. My name is Will, and my pronouns are they, them. And I set up my table behind me, as you can sort of see. And I make comic zines. Most of them are about being trans or about my family, except for some which are about wacky birds. So this zine, Zook and Wendy, is my most recent zine, and it's about 2 non-binary chickens who are sunglasses models in Denver. And they work with a group of turtles to bring down their evil capitalist exploitative boss. I also make flowcharts that I print as posters that are mostly to make my life easier. So one is called "So Your Kid is Non-Binary," and another is called "How You Can Help When I'm Struggling." And today I thought I would read a short zine about my mom. So here it is. My mom died 10 years ago this week. Some facts about her. She was an early adopter of rolling backpacks. And when I get to the stairs, I just put it on. She was an avid flosser. My grieving grandparents said, "Why do you write about flossing in her obituary? What does an avid flosser mean? A dance? Her teeth?" Number 3, she loved wind wall trademark technology. "You got me another wind wall?" Mom, you do know a windbreaker would block wind better and a regular fleece would be more comfortable? Number 4, she knew how much I like pteranodons. Well, all pterosaurs are great. Number 5, bagels beware. Sesame or cinnamon raisin, honey? And the illustrations in this are with pen and ink, and they're all black and white images of like my mom, me, my sister, and my grandparents. And you can see most of my work on my website and my Instagram, which is Transboy Comics. And that's all that I have for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Will. That was really nice. Love seeing that work, and thanks so much for sharing that zine. That's really personal and sweet, and I just, yeah, I think that from what people are saying in the comments, definitely connecting with it. Also pointed out that I was picking up on this theme. Definitely depression and comics about depression is a through line tonight, but turtles as well. Fantastic. What was, I mean, would you like to go into Zook and Wendy a little bit more? Non-binary chickens who work in Denver. How did they team up with the turtles? Just so many questions.
Yeah, so they actually like go on a hot air balloon ride, and they see some, like through their binoculars, they see the turtles are like carrying sticks to build a nest for their evil CEO. And so they think that they're this turtles are being exploited for their labor, but then it turns out that like the turtles are actually like working undercover to expose the unjust labor practices of the CEO.
Oh.
And so then the non-binary sunglasses models realize that they are being underpaid, like compared to the cis models. And so the turtles and Zook and Wendy, the sunglasses models, like team up, and then Wendy ends up turning into a stick that goes into the evil CEO's nest, and then Wendy turns back into a chicken, and the nest like explodes. And
oh my gosh, that's fantastic. I just, yeah, I think I'll have to pick up that zine. I hope that's available on your in your story there. But yeah, what a wild story. It's just I just love every bit of that. Well, thank you for sharing. I think we may have one or two more tonight. Oh no, that's it actually. So Will, you did round us out as our last presenter. So here we are. We have the links here on this page for everybody that presented tonight. It's all in one place, so feel free to take a screenshot of this page, because this is where you can find everyone in the order that they presented. All just really good stuff tonight. I'm really impressed as always, and just what a fantastic group to close out on for Cyberfest. This isn't the very end. We do have just 2 events more, and before we totally wrap things up. So tomorrow at 1 p.m. it's going to be family-friendly drawing games. So that's going to be led by Zine Fest volunteer co-organizer Lauren, and so she's got some great fun stuff planned. So you know, certainly pop into that if you just want to kind of have a loose and relaxing drawing session. And then we have the log off from 2 to 3:30 p.m. This is kind of our closing party. Just a chance to hang out and recap and you know, check in about Zine Fest and celebrate each other just one more time before we part ways. We have, like I said before, festival merch available on our store, but this is what it looks like, and it looks fantastic. This is Tana Tucker's work. So as with every year, the guest of honor designs the poster. So now we have 3 variants of our posters from our 3 guests of honors. Also 3 different stickers. Yeah, Tana has interpreted the work with kind of the Afrofuturist idiom that she works with this, you know, diving bell imagery and reading the ACAB zine there. Very, very, very 2020. It's just 2020 in a nutshell, and we really love it, and we're so grateful to have these guests of honor that we've had to produce work for us and share the time with us on our Q&As. So that's going to be it for tonight. I haven't checked the time, but I imagine we have we have 15 minutes left. So we can certainly turn on our videos and just hang out and talk if everybody is so inclined. We can, if there's any questions anybody has about each other's work. I was able to, ask a few questions of some people, so that was really cool to hear a little more. But yeah, that's yeah. So did anybody want to ask each other anything?
I just wanted to say, I didn't realize, Will, that you were with Trans Boy Comics. And I've been interacting with you on Instagram as Chico Zine Fest for a long time. I didn't realize that was you. So we kind of know each other in a weird way. I
didn't realize that was you either. But now I have 2 accounts for you.
Yeah, because we were in a breakout session together. No, other people don't know that, but I didn't realize that was who I was talking to. But yeah, I really loved your zines a lot. It's cool to meet you. meet you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I see there's a question for Anand. So Anand is our lead organizer, and the question was, how does it feel to be making this all virtually and stuff, which I presume SF Zine Fest and Cyberfest now this year. To which Anand answers, exhausting for the 5 SF Zine Fest we are all thrilled and exhausted. So yeah, I'll echo that. I'm thrilled and exhausted. I'm feeling great.
Hello.
Yeah. Anybody else have any anything they wanted to say about?
Well, I just want to say I really appreciate all the effort and hard work that went into doing what you guys have done. I've been super impressed. I'm just really thankful because I recognize all the work. I mean, being on Zoom all the time is exhausting, and you guys were there so much and leading us. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, really happy to hear that. Where's everyone joining from? If you haven't already shared, we've got one person from Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah, that's me. Hi, can you hear me? Hi.
What time is it right now?
It's about 10 to 9 a.m.
Oh, okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I woke up a little late, sorry. And I wanted to meet you all, and so I'm happy you have this extra time because super curious. Oh, Boulder.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's really cool to see people who probably might not have been able to get here if it was actually happening here in the park.
Definitely.
I mean, people do come from a ways away, but maybe not that much.
Someone's asking was I supposed to present tonight? I had my friend present in another session. It was group M. He's in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, which is where I'm usually based, but because of the virus, remember that, I'm in Vietnam. So I'm calling you guys from there.
Design company?
Yes, hi.
Great, yeah. We definitely saw your got that presentation. So that's awesome work. Since we have a little bit of time, do you want to take a little time to tell everybody about it?
I just ask me something,
Okay. Well, what kind of work does Design Company put out?
Right now, just the zines on digital media. That's been going for about 2 years. Started in Cambodia. I was really interested in just gathering stories and helping people tell their stories, kind of like what I heard Stelli saying about, who are we and what's our story. So let's just talk in circles and connect like you're doing right now. This is exactly the whole idea. And so what can I say? A work in progress always. And it's always wonderful to meet new people and understand a little more about them more deeply, which is why I'm here. And I've been here for about 6 months now in Vietnam.
Mhm.
Long story.
Sure, yeah. Well,
But
cool.
thank you.
Yeah, of course. So question for Megumi, where's the best place to see more of Kevin's photography? Oh, and Megumi, I see shared the link on Etsy.
Yes,
I
it's
can't
on
keep
the
up with
Etsy link that is pasted all over wherever our name shows up. It's Meew Studio with a 1 at the end.
Cool.
So Neil, did you guys get more applicants from around the world because it was virtual this year?
It seems like it. Yeah, I can't tell you off bat, but it does seem like it. It's been awesome to see. You know, we'll have. I remember there was one exhibitor who was from Japan and runs a Osaka Zine Fest, I believe, and was calling in very early in the morning, and then dashed off to go to work after presenting, and so we were very grateful for that. And yeah, but we've had exhibitors from Germany, and I mean I think that even in the in-person fest, people do come out to you know, from far afield. So you always get a scattering of it, but probably a little more this year. And as Anand says in the chat, we had more applicants and exhibitors from all of the U.S. as well. So
Interesting.
a wide net this year, yeah.
So I guess I've got one more question. I'm down on the peninsula. Anna and I went to a zine event you put on in Oakland where we got together at a library and made zines together. I think it was your first time doing that. And since I've moved to the peninsula, I can't find things like that going on here. I was just wondering if you guys happen to know of anything. Thought about starting something, but if you know of something, let me know. Oh, yes, he says. Okay.
Anand, are you able to share more than that?
Sorry, the yes was for the excitement. Like, yes, I remember you. I was like, why does it look familiar? I was like, yes, there you go. Thank you for placing it all together. That's what was such an emphatic yes.
Okay, good.
There are other things that are happening down in the peninsula, but I don't know if they're still running, and that's something we can connect with, and we can also post about it on the SF Zine Fest website, sfzinefest.org. Because yeah, while we are all sheltering in place due to the pandemic, there are lots of resources, lots of venues, lots of organizations that are doing events and trying to reach out to all of us, to all the exhibitors, all the artists as much as they can. It's now just trying to figure out how do we connect with each other, basically. They're putting out information, now we need to figure out how we get access to it.
Got it, cool.
Oh, we got a question from YouTube, very open-ended. If you could meet and hang out with a famous artist or cartoonist, who would it be?
Eli Bishop.
Yeah? I'm not familiar with their work. What's
Hyperbole and a Half was her first book. Oh, you got her new one. I don't have it yet. That's awesome. Like that, Eli.
Yeah. That's great. Any others?
Bill Watterson, Calvin and Hobbes.
Yes. Good answer, yeah.
I guess it would be Gary Larson, which was like earliest influence for me as a child.
Oh yeah.
Far Side Comics.
Definitely. Yeah, I love the
I would be much too self-conscious if it was anyone who's famous now, so I just want all my friends to become famous.
That's good. That's a good use of the genie wish. Anybody else want to have any famous artists or cartoonists they would love to hang out with? It's not really hanging out with a cartoonist, but it's just a fact that I know about Charles Schulz. He established the Snoopy ice rink in Santa Rosa where he lived, and would eat I think like a cheeseburger every day, and then had some kind of health scare and switched to tuna salad. at the cafe. It's called the Warm Puppy Cafe at the ice rink up there in Santa Rosa.
I want to say that like I spent months fangirling over A.V. Jetter's work, and then I got to meet them at Dear Diary, which was super cool. And I was like, oh my God, it's you! Huge fan of A.V.'s work.
And A.V. is one of our co-organizers here at Zine Fest. Yeah, awesome stuff. Well, I'm very glad that you're able to make that connection then. Okay, cool. And oh, so the that zine maker who runs Osaka Zine Day is Mon Books. If anybody wanted to know and check that out. Well, unless anybody has any more questions, I think maybe we should wrap it up for this call it a session and call it a festival almost, barring our 2 events that I mentioned coming up tomorrow. So hope to see everybody there if you're inclined to hang out and you know, kind of recap the fest, as I said. So once again, thanks everybody for showing up and for sharing all of your work. And you know, I'm just like, so Lauren does a lot of the heavy lifting of organizing the groups of these exhibitors, and I'm always just impressed with the commonalities that we find. I think some of it, you know, is coincidence, but a lot of it is that careful kind of curation of who's you know whose work shines when you put it next to each other. So we got a great group of people here and doing some amazing things.
I wanted to say, like, I've been watching a lot of these show and tells and the pairings that everyone really complements each other's work, and I see themes as I'm watching it, and it gets even more entertaining than it already was. So yeah, props to Lauren on that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I thank you for being here. We will we'll see you at the log off if you swing on through, and I hope everyone has a great evening or day in the case of our caller from Vietnam who's calling in, and yeah, everybody get some rest and